Shalom, welcome to the Jewish View. My name is Rabbi Nachman Simon with the Chabad House of Dalmar, and together with my co-host Mark Ronich of Statewide News Service and jbiztechphilly.com, we have a very, very special guest with us, Marcia White, and you are the president of SPAC, Saratoga Performing Arts Center. So, Marcia, welcome to the Jewish View.
Rabbi, thank you so much for inviting me. It's my sincere pleasure.
Yeah, Marcia, it's great to see you again.
Good to see you
I
again,
remember
Mark,
you
as well.
for, we've known each other probably 25 years.
Many
That's
years.
a long time.
And
Absolutely.
you worked for Senator Bruno as his press secretary when I got to know you, and
That's right.
we worked well together. So
Very well together. You did a great job and worked very hard, and that's what we still continue to do.
That's
which is
good.
very good.
Exactly.
Yes.
So how is the, I know that in one of your other interviews that you've done so many, someone asked you about what is it like, the transition, or what was it like working in the legislature and then heading up SPAC, and you know, are there similarities? And you said yes, there were similarities, and you enumerated some of them.
There are many, and I think that I have to start with my first profession, which I'm a registered nurse. And that's helped me with both because of the fact that you have to learn to be able to be very flexible. You do in life in general. And be able to address a need and then go back and complete something that you've already started. At the end of the day, it's about people. It's about being able to work with people. It's about understanding their needs so that you can work together and accomplish something together. And I really feel that's incredibly important. It all really goes back to that. And so I think having the background in press has been very helpful, and marketing has been very helpful. I think knowing how to manage the political system is important. We have the facility is New York State Parks. We have a fabulous partnership with New York State Parks and the governor's office. And I think it's being disciplined and learning how to get things done. But I think in general, my history and background has really helped me well. But at the end of the day, it's all about giving people that opportunity to have a quality of life. And that's what it was in the Senate as well.
Well, you have grown the Saratoga Performing Arts Center unbelievably in the, how many years now?
9 years.
9 years. Yeah. Just incredible in such a short period of time, relatively speaking.
Tell us about that over here, because I guess Mark is a reporter. He knows everything,
Yeah.
and I'm a rabbi. I know my Judaism, I say, but I'm just
Right.
like the person out there. I mean, explain
Right. So,
what that
so,
means. Yeah.
so what? How have you seen SPAC grow since your first year till now?
Well, it's personal for me. Well, the reason I took this position is because I have 4 daughters. My oldest daughter danced on that stage when George Balanchine was there. She was one of the children. My other girls grew up on the lawn. They're now in the arts. And I just felt that it's a very special place that needs to be nurtured and protected. So that when I took that position, we knew that there were many changes that had to happen. And I think the goal in life now, especially after the recession, you have to be flexible, you have to be ready for change. So that's something that comes very easily for us. We changed our website. We knew that we had to be much better with customer service. We reached out for corporate sponsorship and really had the support of the community. Mm-hmm. And then we got New York State funding for improvements for the facility. Mary Lou Whitney and John Hendrickson brought a couple of people together, and they pledged $100,000 for a year for 5 years. So it was recognizing that this was a real treasure that we had that had to be protected, because at the end of the day, as I said, it's about people. It's providing that quality of life for people when they need it most. And I happen to know that after the recession, I'm thinking, the country's really trying to get back to the basics. That's what we need. Well, this is what we do here. So we gave people the opportunity to come last minute, just show up. You know, you can get a blanket, have a SPAC pack, get a picnic on the lawn.
The SPAC pack?
A SPAC pack, so you can just come and have a picnic. We had a sponsor for Kids In Free. At the end of the day, if you were a patron on the lawn, it was cost less to bring your family to SPAC than to go to a movie. We have group discounts. We have great reach out, and our advertising goes throughout not only this region, but Canada, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York. And as I said, I think it gets back to what do people need, what do they want, and how do you really serve them most? You know, our goal is to give people a fabulous summer. and a staycation, especially people who, may not have the means to do something else. And our tickets prices have always been low.
And what's your relationship between LiveNation and the organization and SPAC as an organization?
They're one of our partners. With a summer home of the Philadelphia Orchestra and New York City Ballet, LiveNation is a partner.
They book all the
They do.
rock acts.
Right. Every single arts organization in the country now, especially the Performing Arts Center, need that partner to subsidize the losses for the classical. So LiveNation comes in, they schedule their performances around our season and provide us the revenue that offset the fact that we lose $1 million with the ballet and $1 million with the orchestra.
How much?
We do. For the New York City Ballet, to put on 2 weeks of the ballet, it's $2 million. We lose $1 million, they lose not $1 million, but a fair amount, close to it. The New York City Ballet loses as well.
Oh.
Philadelphia Orchestra, we lose the same amount. It's about $185,000 to put on a performance of the ballet or orchestra.
But the ballet has bounced back, though. I mean, there was 1 week, and now you're doing 2 weeks.
Right. Right.
That's because of the money? I mean, I do know something.
You do. You certainly do. You know the most important thing.
Yeah,
That's really
well,
true.
you have to-
I've always wanted the ballet to be here 3 weeks. I think it's our heritage, it's our legacy. They decided a number of years ago that in 2010 that they wanted to shorten the residency from 3 to 2 because they'd lose money, and that they felt that this was what they had to do. They went through a process over the last year. They've had to negotiate their contracts with all of their unions and really couldn't say this is how much it's going to cost to come here for 2 weeks. So we said, let's see what it is. They had a huge deficit. They worked very hard to turn that around. And so we've reached an agreement that we're going to work harder together to raise money. And we really know how important it is because we're going into the 50th anniversary. Next year will be the 50th season. Following that in 2016, we'll actually celebrate 50 years of the amphitheater, the summer home of the New York City Ballet and Philadelphia Orchestra.
That's
so it's
incredible.
important that that tradition and heritage is retained.
I remember you had the Israel Philharmonic here one year.
Before me, but a number of years ago.
Oh, it was even
Yes,
before you.
before
okay.
me.
I
Yeah.
definitely went to see that, so
The money is made up by corporate sponsors, that's what we're saying?
It's the majority of money, 40% is covered by ticket sales, the rest has to be raised. So corporate sponsorship is a major part of it. Individual membership is important. Then philanthropy is also important too. So we have to raise almost $4 million every year to
Year for the summer, you're talking about the summer season?
Yeah,
Well, that's her
a
year.
calendar year.
Yeah, all right.
That's exactly right. So, and actually, when you talk about LiveNation, 60% of our members become members to buy LiveNation tickets. So that's where a lot of support is, but what we hope is that someone will come to SPAC for whatever reason and decide that they have that great, what we call SPAC experience, and want to come back. It isn't necessarily the performance on the stage. It's what else we have to offer. Friday
and you're
nights,
right. From a personal standpoint, you are correct with that, yes.
Well, I think the location, this pristine, gorgeous park, really says a lot. All the LiveNation artists want to come and perform there. We were very lucky because last year we were able to get Farm Aid there. That is a national program that John Mellencamp, Neil Young, Dave Matthews, and Willie Nelson put together. They picked one location throughout the country, and it's to support New York State farmers, and they chose SPAC last year. So that's huge.
You know, it's interesting because you, in the political world, everyone likes to take pictures with the political stars. Do you take your pictures backstage of a rogues gallery of all the stars that have graced the stage?
Actually, no, I don't. I'm kind of the kind of person that really likes to be behind the scenes. When we have a LiveNation event, I get to see them. I don't really go out of my way I welcome them if possible, but they're really doing their job.
And what happens with special requests from the artist? Like we asked this of Bob Belber at the Times Union Center, when he was on the show, and Philip Morris from Proctor's when he was on the show. Some of these entertainers have requests. Do you have to accommodate that, or does LiveNation?
LiveNation
takes
does.
care of all those?
But if there's anything that we can do to expedite that we do as well. So you want to keep them happy, but it's within reason as well.
Yeah, within, so
How many
there's-
people, what's the capacity of the SPAC?
The amphitheater holds 5,223. However, a LiveNation event, our capacity is 25,000.
Well, you're talking about the lawn also.
Yes, yes.
But the fixed seating,
5,223.
and is there a balcony?
That includes
That
the balcony.
includes the balcony.
Right.
Okay.
And then there's 20,000 people on the lawn, you're saying?
There can be.
There can be, yes.
Doesn't happen often, but there can be.
Grateful Dead, it used to.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. In the past, Dave Matthews has sold out 2 nights now. And so it's something, it works for us because LiveNation is very responsible. Safety is number one. Having a great experience with the patron is very important. And then what happens with us, it really helps us because the additional revenue per head after a certain number help us with the bottom line for LiveNation.
Why did you choose LiveNation to work with as opposed to the company that I can't remember right now, that Times Union Center?
SMG.
SMG.
They had a contract with Saratoga Performing Arts Center when I got there. Then they were in the process of renewing, and we just built, and I did do my research, I did my homework, but LiveNation, hands down, was the best partner that I could find. They are still continue to be the best partner that I can imagine.
What makes them the best partner?
They put their own money in the facility. They'll make improvements. They, as I said, they work around our dates. They are more than happy to help us out in different situations, but they bring good artists. They're very good about making sure that safety is first, having a great experience, the communication is there, and it's a win-win situation for us.
So
It
if
really
there's
is.
a major event at Times Union Center, for argument's sake, Paul McCartney,
Yes,
and you have a concert at SPAC,
right.
are they two different audiences that you still can, you're not
Sometimes
siphoning off?
Sometimes there's competition. There are tremendous number of arts organizations and very good ones in the capital region. So at times we're competing. But in a situation with the Paul McCartney concert, our concert was Fish.
Oh.
So they're a different audience. But sometimes when you have a concert of that magnitude at the Times Union Center, sometimes we don't, it might be a ballet night, it may be some other night. So there are times when there's competition, but we all work together as well. So,
You do. You have a little
we absolutely
consortium
do.
of, because
We do.
we've had Mark Fleischer from the Adirondack Theater Festival on the show. We've had other arts organizations, and this place, I just want to showcase the arts on this program because it's just so wonderful. We have such a wealth
We're
of arts and people.
incredibly blessed.
Yes.
We really are. We have so many great arts organizations at a time when it's very problematic because the arts are not supported the way they could be. Philanthropy is down. Classical performances for the ballet, for example, is down between 2002 and 2010, about
Is that because
24%.
of, like you
Wait,
said?
how much? What?
About 24%, and
go
orchestra
ahead.
as well.
I just wanted it because it's an interesting point. Is because philanthropy is down? Is there because recession is down, or people aren't giving as much? It's the X generation, they're not thinking, hey, this is beautiful arts. I have so much money. Let me help out the community.
Right. I think it's sort of all of the above. I think when the recession hit, it really scared people. And, people still are not all that comfortable. It changed the way life is. So I think the grants shrunk, for one thing. I think a lot of people decided that they were going to pull back with some philanthropy. And we're presenters, so it provides a little bit of a problem for us because we're not a ballet company. We're not an orchestra. We present them. But at the end of the day, if you want to support the kinds of arts that we represent, it's important for you to support us.
It's interesting that you said that as a presenter, because I never thought of you in that
Yes, we
respect.
are.
I always thought of you as the one who signs the contracts and says, oh, we want that group or we want that group.
Right.
And then but
Right.
they come to you basically.
They do, but I think Rabbi has a good point. I think one of the things that's important for me to share, because this is what's the most important thing for me, is that it's important to support SPAC because it's something we need to hand down to our children and their children. We have to provide them the ability to have that quality of life. It's all about that. As far as I'm concerned, it's all about my children and my grandchildren having an opportunity to grow up with the arts, because the arts do change your life. They change the way you see life, the way you treat people, the way you, when you're in a work environment, sometimes the way you perceive a problem. So
I'd like to use the Jewish view, but I'd like to connect that to Judaism. It really is the same. We're on the same wavelength. People just say, well, make money and have fun, and say, well, there's a different dimension in life, and people are not taught that. That's what I was really asking. They're not taught that. Well, you have to be arts, or you have to be charitable. It's just make money, have fun, and have a good time. And that's why I'm saying we have to deal with that also. Like there's a different, you'll feel good like when you go to the arts and you have something Jewish, a deeper dimension in life. It's not just a matter of, having a good time, having a drink at the bar.
Exactly. And Rabbi, thank you, because that's how I feel. I mean, I start my day every morning with prayer and meditation. I end it every night with prayer and meditation. I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I also know, and I've said this to the artists, you have a gift that God gave you. Unless you give it to the audience, you can't, if you don't share that gift, you don't have that gift. And it's the same thing with the audience. You have to come to receive the gift. So it's a give-give situation. It really is.
That's really the truth. I think, people have told me about artists. It's not just playing the notes on a guitar or a piano. And who's really great is the ones that can connect and put their whole soul into the arts.
Absolutely.
Just to say the right words or hit the right keyboard. There's something more to it. So
do you have a similar relationship with Tanglewood and the Berkshires, and where you work together, or?
We meet every year at a conference, but what we also do is we cross-advertise. So they'll have advertisements in our program, and we do with them as well. So we promote them. But we also get together and figure out, what are the challenges, and how do we get there, and where are we going together? So it's sort of the way we deal with it.
And what are the challenges? Besides money, money's the base. Everything is money.
It's really getting more people to attend because, and Rabbi sort of spoke about this a while ago. The biggest problem we see, and we do surveys after every season. What did you like to see? They are so busy. They're incredibly busy that they don't make decisions until the end of the day. What I think we bring is sort of a peace and harmony to their life. If they can come to SPAC and have a picnic on the lawn and speak to their family, they talk together. This isn't a drive-through. They're actually having a conversation. They're sharing time with the people around them, and it's a sense of community. And I think our youth needs it. I read an article in the New York Times last summer. It was an interview on children, and people were concerned about their texting. And the writer interviewed a young boy and said, well, but do you know how to have a conversation with people? And he said, well, someday I'd like to learn how to do that, but not right now. So, I think that that's very important, is communicating and relating to people and getting back to basics, because we're really all here to take care of each other, nurture each other. And I hope that's what we do at SPAC.
And it's one of the differences between the amphitheater and the lawn is the amphitheater, you don't want to be talking when you're disturbing the person next to you or whatever, right. or the artist,
Right.
And then on the lawn is when you can just have the music on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And
you have the screens.
And you have the screens, but I'm saying you could talk,
right.
And it's appropriate to have a conversation on the lawn
right.
while the music is playing, because you're not interrupting people as much, or it doesn't seem to be.
Right. But we also provide an opportunity for you to really get a great experience prior. So there are a lot of added values. Mm-hmm. We have an educational program that's called Pre-Performance Talks. So a lot of the artists or authors you get an up close and personal view of what they're doing or how they've created the masterpiece or what you're going to see that night. Every Friday night's family night, so families come and they get free Stewart's ice cream, and they maybe have a magician, and there's something for families, and the program is always family oriented. Thursday night is date night, Wednesday night is girls' night out. So there's ways that we want to bring people there because we want them to feel comfortable, and there's something more than just a performance. But at the end of the day, I have to agree with Rabbi. It's about having a gift that you give back and you give to other people.
And you said that everyone is busy, 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 and that's why that's one of the challenges you have in terms of people coming to SPAC or any arts venue.
Right.
Do you have a hard time finding downtime? Is it difficult for you?
I don't know what downtime is.
You don't know what downtime.
But I never have. I mean, that's just my personality. I have 4 daughters. I have 9 grandchildren. If there's anything they need, they're my priority. Family has always come first to me, always will be. Short of that, it's a lot of responsibility. We have a very small staff. We have 14 people. They do the work of probably 35 or 40. Everybody has to wear 3 hats, and our hours are long. During the orchestra season, I'm there at 9 in the morning. I get home at 1:30 in the morning because the conductors and the artists, they have to eat after a performance. So I have to take them to dinner, and it's a great time to talk about, plans in the future or get some ideas about how they felt about the performance. So it's what you do.
Are there favorite restaurants for them?
My favorite restaurant is one that stays open for us.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Whichever one it might be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Keeps their kitchen open till after 10 o'clock. That's my favorite. Yeah.
What story about a SPAC concert would you want to relate to the audience? I don't want to put a label on it, but one that's meaningful to you or
one
funny.
One that is meaningful to me. It was the final performance of West Side Story with the New York City Ballet. And it was torrential rain, and it was close to a hurricane. And people had started to already come into the amphitheater. The performance was just about to start. So the state police had to help us make sure that the people that were in their cars stayed there for their safety because of lightning. And the people in the amphitheater, it was important for them to stay where they were as well. So what happens is the New York City Ballet will be warming up behind a curtain. And we raised the curtain and said, we're all one family. And they were sweeping the water off the stage and hoping that the show was still going to go on. And the audience was there, and we all did it together. And it was a great connecting of knowing that what's important is that we're all going to make this thing work. And it was a special moment. And I have to share with you my favorite vision of SPAC that I will never forget. It was the first year that I was there as president. And it was maybe the first week. And I was on the lawn, and around the corner, I saw a father pulling a red wagon with a daughter in the wagon, and she was holding a blanket, and her mother was behind her with a picnic. And that's SPAC. It's a family. It's like, this is what it's all about.
It's an iconic picture that you
It's iconic, and this is what we are, and this
Yeah.
is what we represent.
And if you don't have the picture of that, you should replicate it and
Exactly.
show it
Yeah.
as part of a promotion for SPAC, because that's really true.
Well,
I think it's incredible because, you come, I'm from Chicago, came to Albany, and we have someone actually, a business person said, well, this is small Albany. And then you say, well, all right, it's a minor league team in baseball. This is a minor league city. And then you come in SPAC, and right next door to Albany, you have, New York, Ballet, Philadelphia.
That's
I mean,
right.
this is like incredible in your backyard. But it's even more than that because, there's another dimension that, okay, you can go into New York City, Manhattan, and, it's great. It's, it's vibrant, but on the other hand, you got your cake and eat it too, so to speak. You have the big city, you have the major league things, but then you're relaxed. It's Saratoga. It's not like Manhattan and rushing around and the big lights.
That's true.
And you don't have to go rush for a train and make sure that you get the subway.
Well, I will tell you, Rabbi, the best example of that we have just had, because this year we're having the Bolshoi Ballet. It's one of 3 performances in the whole country.
Really?
We have sold tickets throughout 32 states and the UK.
Wow.
Texas, California, Arizona, And, you know, my sense is if they want to come and see the Bolshoi, do you want to go to the city? You could do that. Or do you want to come to Saratoga? Well, now New York is sold out, so you have Saratoga left. But I think clearly people are seeing this. And one of the other things that it's very important to point out is that we're also an economic engine.
Right.
We're one of the reasons when Global Foundries, which was AMD, decided to locate in that area, Hector Ruiz basically said SPAC was one of the reasons because we provide the quality of life for their workers. You know, when someone is building or locating a major company, they're looking for a great educational system, they're looking for a quality of life, they're looking for a great hospital system. I'd like to think that they also find a great place where their families can worship. I think that's very important. So SPAC was one of those elements. We generate $100 million into the immediate economy every year. But as a non-for-profit, we get no financial support from the city, the county. We get an arts grant and we get capital improvement. So we have to raise the rest of the money.
So the Council of the Arts gives you some money? How much do they
Yeah,
give you?
about $32,000.
Okay, let me ask you this other question because
Okay.
we're running out of time. You have a relationship with the DA's, Saratoga County DA's office
Sure.
and the New York State Park Police regarding zero tolerance. Could you explain that a little bit?
Yes, I think that what happens for a LiveNation event is people forget that there's New York State rules that have always been there. And so a number of years ago, we started to do press conferences and made sure at the beginning of the season we sent out a press release, let people understand that it's illegal to drink inside New York State parks. We don't want children, we don't want people to come to those concerts and think that that's the reason they want to be there is to drink. So there's zero tolerance. You cannot bring alcohol into the park. We have a situation where Parks Police will do random checks, which is important for us. We have a situation where if someone comes into the park and they are inebriated, they either have to get picked up and go home, they have to go to our EMT tent, or they have to go to the hospital if there's a problem. We want everyone else also to have a great opportunity to have a great experience, and I also believe it's personal responsibility. I think when you come to an event, you come to a concert, it's important for you to recognize that you're one person, but everyone else is there to have a good time too. And when you're young and foolish, sometimes you forget that. But we make sure that it's a very safe environment for the individual who's maybe having that problem as well. So there's no tolerance, and nor there should be.
But you've had instances, minor, every
There's
once in a
always
while.
minor instances,
Every once
but-
in a while, occasionally.
Right,
There's
right.
someone who spoils it for a lot of other people.
Yes, as
Yeah.
is life normally.
That's life is
Right,
normal, right?
normally.
We won't go into that. I
Right.
got a lot of examples that are going through my head right now.
Exactly.
What else about SPAC, as we have a few minutes left, would you like to point out that we didn't know enough to ask you, or that you want to promote to the
Well, I
audience?
think what's important is that also that people should recognize that we have group discounts. So if you bring 20, maybe a few less than 20, you get a discount for bringing a group. Our matinees are very popular. Senior citizens, children's groups, and it's a great way to have a great meal in the Hall of Springs. Again, I think membership is important. If you become a member of SPAC, you get early access to tickets. You have an opportunity to have dinner in the Patrons Club. We also have a huge educational component. We have a Vivian Anderson program where children that are underserved in this capital region can come, have an opportunity to see a ballet, meet artists, and then we also provide an educational component in the schools as well.
Is Homemade Theater HMT affiliated with
No,
SPAC? That's
they're
separate.
they're located in our little theater,
Right.
so they perform there, and then that's off season. But our chamber music, and that's important to share, that we
Yeah.
have a brand new resident company. It's a Chamber Music Society of Lincoln Center. They're probably the best in the world, so they will be doing our chamber music program, which coincides with the orchestra season.
Okay.
We're out of time, Marcia. I just want to thank you very much for being here. And it's not just for what you do personally, it's a good job and you're doing well, but you're serving the community in, like, if anything, certain sense, you may be the center of the community. It's not just people, that's what I'm saying, people think the arts is like an added luxury, but in certain sense, for quality of life, you are the center of everything in this in the Capital District. So I want to thank you, and as we say in Jewish, should be 120 years old with
Thank
good
you.
health and continued
Thank you so
success.
much.
All the best
Rabbi.
of success.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.